Welcome back to the Whisky Couch here in sunny South Africa. My name is GUSTAV MULLER and this is Whisky Tasting and Food Pairing Review number 92. And today's whisky is the second one in this series that I'm doing on some Arran whiskies. Today's whisky, the Arran Malt, and specifically the Amarone Cask finish. Amarone Cask finish. Now, yesterday when I did the first one in this series, which was the Arran Malt 14-year-old, I did give a bit of information on the distillery, some background information and where it's situated and so on. So I'm not going to repeat all of that. I'm going to jump straight to the whiskey. This is a very nice booklet that comes in the gift tube, and you can see some of the information in this booklet. That is the one that I reviewed yesterday, and I see that it has received from the San Francisco Spirits Double Gold Award. That would be, and also from the World Whiskies Award, a gold. And then there is the cask finish and some of the other limited releases from the Arran Distillery. But for today, the Amarone Cask finish. So this whiskey was matured in ex-Bourbon casks for between 7 to 10 years. It's a no-age statement, so it doesn't give the age of the whiskey. And then after the ex-Bourbon casks, it was matured for a further time period in ex-Amarone sweet red wine from Italy casks. Amarone wine is a sweet red wine that is made from raisins, so it's got a very rich, dark, fruity flavor. And it says here on the gift tube, the notes of dark chocolate, cherry and Turkish delight are proof of the richly rewarding combination of the Amarone cask and the Arran malt. Each cask is specifically selected by our master distiller. So that is the whiskey for today. It's bottled at a whopping 50% alcohol by volume. You can see right there at the bottom, 50% alcohol by volume, and it's got a beautiful color, like a burnished copper with a pink tint, because of the red wine casks. I've poured my dram a little before the video started, and you can see there the burnished copper with the pink tint. It's really a beautiful color on this whiskey. But let's see what this whiskey has for us today. Again, the floral notes of the Arran whiskies. I found that yesterday in the 14-year as well. Floral roses and pears and oranges. Honey and the slight saltiness. So the proximity to the ocean does have an effect. Almonds, bit of brown sugar, and then the raisins, and then I get a nougat aroma as well. It's a fantastic nose on this cask finish whiskey. Mmm. 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 50% alcohol, non-chill filtered, natural color, so you can feel it on your palate, the alcohol, but it's rich. It's got a rich palate, some bitter dark chocolate, just a sort of a hint of cinnamon, and then the raisins and dark fruits and cherries and plums and stewed fruits. A very rich and complex palate. And on the second sip, there's some honey, caramelized nuts, some pastry, and again the nougat. And the finish, I must say, is really quite long. There's a dry ending, some pepper and caramel, dried fruits and nuts and salt in the ending. I really love this whiskey, and I can probably let the cat out of the bag and say that this is my favorite out of the few Arran whiskies that I'm reviewing. A really, really good cask finish whiskey, well integrated, a good balance between the bitter notes and the sweet notes and the oaky spices. So you can add quite a bit of water because of the 50% alcohol by volume. More nougat and caramelized nuts. It's amazing that there's no real alcohol burn on the nose, even though it's 50% alcohol. It's got a wonderful soft, fruity, and now the extra nougat and caramelized nuts after the few drops of water. On the palate after the water, smooth, spiced dark fruit. That's what I'm getting. If I have to summarize what I'm experiencing with this cask finish whiskey, then I would say nougat with fruit and nuts. That's just what comes to mind. That is sort of the picture that I'm getting. And I must say, one of the better red wine cask finished whiskies that are available. £43 in the UK, around $80 in the US, and around 800 Rand, 900 Rand here in South Africa. So it is quite pricey for a no-age statement. But in this particular case, I would say it's really worthwhile. If you want to pair this whiskey, this wonderful red wine finished single malt from the Arran Distillery, then I would recommend that you try to connect with the caramel flavors in the flavor profile of the whiskey, the slight saltiness and the nuttiness and the fruitiness. So I would recommend something like caramelized apricots. That could work very well. Maybe a bit of ice cream to go with that. Or caramelized nuts. I've actually tried that and it really works well. A mini pecan pie, pecanut pie, that I've also tried and it worked well. Or a fruit and nut nougat. That also works quite well with this whiskey. But for today, I have chosen, and you will probably never guess, a Italian pasta, spaghetti with beef, mince, bolognese, and a little bit of fruit chutney. I just thought, matured in a Italian red wine cask, so you've got to go with a pasta bolognese, minced bolognese with a bit of fruit chutney. So the fruit chutney, I'm using that to connect with the fruitiness in this wonderful whiskey. You always need something to connect, and the rest of course should not clash. So it is a meaty, savory pairing, but this whiskey has got enough body and enough richness that it'll be able to cope with this. So here goes Italian spaghetti. Aye, man, this is really something. Spaghetti with that fruit chutney with this wonderful whiskey. An excellent pairing. Thank you for watching. What an adventure, and I look forward to see you again tomorrow when I'm doing the third in this series of Arran whiskies, Slanger.